Muchas gracias, Martín Rodríguez, y a todos los panelistas, virtual y en presencial, por acercarnos un poquito más este futuro de la educación, hacia dónde va a ir. A continuación, y como me comentaba que habíamos tenido un pequeño error en el sonido, digamos, en sala del vídeo que proyectábamos antes, vamos a ponerlo un momentito. Es el MOOC en Derecho Internacional, os recuerdo que nos ha presentado Alicia Gómez de la Organización Mundial del Turismo.
Created a new online certificate program in international travel. We have created a new online certificate program in international travel and tourism law for the Tourism Online Academy in partnership with the World Tourism Organization of the United Nations.
In this course, your teacher will be UNWTO's own legal counsel.
Welcome to the first module of the Introduction to Tourism Law MOOC.
Every year, millions of passengers reach their holiday destinations by air.
Tourism can be a force for good in our world.
Thank you very much to WTO that opened its organization to tourism law.
You will also have the chance to learn from other top experts as we explore the most important issues of today.
This online certificate program is a great opportunity for professionals, managers, and everyone else seeking to deepen their learning and update their knowledge in the legal challenges of the tourism industry.
So I encourage you to enroll in the Tourism Online Academy and continue developing your knowledge and skills for the tourism of tomorrow.
Bueno, pues a continuación abrimos un nuevo apartado que tiene que ver con la innovación, con startups. Vamos a conocer una serie de iniciativas, en total 7, que tiene que ver con innovación en la educación online. Y vamos a tener, como os digo, unos 7 proyectos que vamos a ir presentando, algunos en presencial, otros en vídeo, ya que son pues ponentes algunos pues de países como Canadá. Por tanto, vamos a ir dando paso uno a uno. En primer lugar, contamos con Leticia Lauper, que es directora de Guacalúa, y que nos va a presentar el proyecto Broña Climate Shield, y a continuación la vamos a tener con nosotros aquí en el escenario. Bienvenida, Leticia.
Déjalo ahí. Vale, ahora pone la presentación. Sí, ¿no? Espero a que lo pongan. ¿Esto es conectado? ¿Está conectado? Es que se oye muy bajito, ¿no? Ah, vale. ¿Empiezo? Hola, buenos días. Mientras nos ponen la presentación, daros la bienvenida a todos en este entorno COVID, con lo cual muy agradecida de la presencia de los que están aquí y todos los que están conectados virtualmente. Estoy aquí para presentarles una tecnología totalmente disruptiva. Es una nueva solución basada en nanotecnología que tiene dentro unas microesferas de cerámica, una tecnología que ayuda a todos los hoteles y a la industria del turismo a ser mucho más eficiente y mucho más sostenible, porque tiene un gran impacto en la reducción de la huella del carbono. Una pena que nos haya llegado una vez finalizada la competición mundial sobre los ODS, pero que ahora mismo están preparando ya una aplicación para el Banco Mundial y para la actual competición sobre turismo rural que ha lanzado la OMT. Y bueno, pues vamos a dar paso a esta breve presentación, acabaremos con un vídeo y deciros que esto pertenece a un grupo muy grande que actualmente está ya cotizando en bolsa, que cuenta con todas las certificaciones, tanto la americana de la STM como la C europea, así como la 1000 Spec, que es la especificación militar, y vamos a hablar de las bondades de esta pintura. Como pueden ver en la presentación, aunque no la mire, pero lo voy contando de palabra, se trata de una pintura que con solo 1 milímetro es capaz de aislar lo mismo que 70 milímetros de aislante que se usa en cualquier infraestructura convencional. Mejora la eficiencia energética entre un 20 y un 42%, ya que aísla totalmente de la temperatura, tanto en fachadas como en cañerías, en calderas, en suelo y en los techos. Evita la condensación, evita el óxido, evita el salitre, evita que pueda haber accidentes con el manejo de las tuberías y sobre todo tiene una durabilidad de 10 años frente a 2 de la actual pintura convencional. Esto supone un ahorro de costes bastante importante, dado que por un lado se ahorra mucho en la mano de obra de todo lo que requiere la infraestructura de una casa en cuanto a aislamientos, y también supone un ahorro importante económico. Hay que decir que también tiene propiedades antibacterianas, antihongos y es muy resistente al fuego. Si me pueden pasar el slide, por favor. Como estoy... Anterior, por favor. Anterior. Como decía, es bastante resistente al fuego porque tiene 25 minutos hasta que prende la llama, ahora lo veremos en el vídeo, frente a una pintura convencional. La barrera térmica frente al exterior es de 7 grados y supone hasta un ahorro del 42% energético en la disminución de consumo, así como en las emisiones de CO2. Como decía, hay un gran ahorro en la mano de obra comparado con lo que requieren otros aislantes en la construcción de infraestructuras. Previene del óxido, previene del salitre, antihongos, antibacterias y por ende también es un buen aliado en estos momentos de COVID. Disminuye la condensación y humedad de las tuberías, lo que hace que tenga una duración de 10 años frente a los dos actuales, lo que supone todo el tema del cambio de las instalaciones. También no está puesto ahí, pero evita, disminuye en 2 decibelios, lo cual aísla del ruido exterior y obviamente evita accidentes al manipular todo el tema de calderas, circuitos de aire acondicionado y demás. Hay un caso de estudio, por favor, siguiente slide. Siguiente, por favor. Bien, un poco para que se hagan idea de las cifras, el consumo anual promedio en un año es 1.565 megawatts. Si tenemos en cuenta el escenario más conservador de un ahorro de 20%, supone, traducido en euros, a más de 400.000 euros de ahorro en 10 años, que son 40.000 al año. Lo que quiere decir es que si la inversión estimada en un hotel de 70 habitaciones es de 60.000 euros, en año y medio estaría amortizada esa inversión. En cuanto al componente de sostenibilidad, bueno, pues lo que se ahorraría en emisión de CO2 a la atmósfera, que sería el equivalente a 100 automóviles, pues ahí tienen las cifras que son muy claras, ¿no? Evitaríamos 5.000 toneladas de emisiones en los próximos 10 años. Siguiente. La siguiente pantalla son certificados, tanto europeo, americano como el militar, con los que ya cuenta esta solución. Y luego, la última slide, por favor, son los distintos tipos que hay de pintura. Todas tienen propiedades, aislantes térmicos, antihongos, como decía, anti-ruido, con una gran resistencia al fuego, pero si bien y dependiendo de dónde se quiera aplicar, si es en fachada, es en tuberías, es en interior, en habitaciones de un hotel, pues utilizaríamos una u otra tipología en función del concentrado del componente, en función a lo que queremos conseguir. Voy a dar paso a un vídeo que es bastante ilustrativo y De antemano, muchas gracias por vuestra atención. Bueno, mientras se pone el vídeo, decir que aquí hay varias personas de la empresa, con lo cual estaremos encantados de daros el contacto y charlar con vosotros tranquilamente para más detalles. Aquí lo que se están... Que es un dato también importante, porque os preguntaréis muchos de vosotros, bueno, ¿y cuánto vale esta pintura? Porque obviamente las aplicaciones que tiene y el carácter disruptivo por su componente de innovación, pues podríamos pensar que es 10 veces más caro, ¿no?, que una pintura convencional. Pues no solo el precio es similar, aquí tenemos lo que es una cubeta de 20 litros que vale 149 €, sino que además, debido a precisamente este componente de nanotecnología que tiene dentro, con solo aplicar una capa de 1 milímetro conseguiríamos todos los efectos a la hora de aislamiento térmico, de sonido y demás que hemos estado comentando con solo esa capa de 1 milímetro. Así que esto casi nos puede dar para pintar un hotel entero. Muchas gracias por su atención.
Pues muchas gracias, Leticia Laufer, directora de Guacalúa, por presentarnos esta iniciativa innovadora vinculada a la sostenibilidad en el sector turístico. A continuación vamos a tener un vídeo que es de un proyecto denominado Apply Board, que nos presenta Martín Basiri, que es CEO. Él está en Canadá, no ha venido aquí, por tanto nos ha enviado este vídeo y tiene que ver con un marketplace en educación. Así que a continuación vamos a poder verlo.
Hi everyone, my name is Martin Basiri. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Apply. Apply is an online platform that helps students from all over the world for their international studies to countries like Canada, United States, United Kingdom, and Australia. It's a centralized application system that a student can not only figure out what are the universities or colleges that likely accept them, but they can apply to them with just press a one button. They can click to multiple universities with one platform. Um, since COVID, a lot of universities went online, and at Blackboard also we adopted our system, and a lot of our students right now, because of the border closure or by nature of the courses, they're taking their classes online. And it created this environment that the students can learn. There are still a lot of challenges, such as time zone, um, for international studies when all the education is synchronous, but when it's asynchronous or not thinking about a problem like time zone, it created an unbelievable positivity around the reach of a program. Like now, anyone from anywhere can get a course or a section from a teacher or university from anywhere else, and this creates hugely the opportunity to access education, and that's a mission that Apply Board is working on. The other interesting aspect about the online education is, for example, if you're looking at the COVID time, how much of universities adopted new technologies and also new material and content for their courses to make it more interactive, because now the whole medium has changed. And if you look at the industry, a lot of these things never go back, and it's gonna stay more than ever. Universities, lecturers, and generally speaking, online teachers, they learn to use the material like pre-recorded videos, YouTube, and apps on the internet to create their total lecture. And the feedback across the board that's extremely positive, because they can give the material to the student and they can learn it at their own time, and then they can come to the class and do the actual conversation about it, and they're already ready, and because it's in the format of video, it's easier for almost everyone to consume that. So it's very exciting to think about what that can bring for the future of online education, and it's very very exciting. And alongside the reach of it, and one of the things that we started to see, but not in a big factors, also the cost of education because of the online video, especially when it's asynchronous and a lot of material is recorded, so it's scalable. You could see significantly cost reduction in the education cost, which makes it again more accessible for people around the world, which is very, very exciting, because more people now could take classes where before you have to pay $30,000-$40,000 to get access to it. So these are the three areas that we see right now in online education. It's very, very exciting. Access, the financial access, and the content change. The areas that is still like we'll see how a lot of technologies and changes coming is assessment and personalization. These are the areas that are the next generation of like problem solving that's gonna happen in our industry, which makes it very very exciting. I hope it was useful, and you have a good day.
All right. Next, we have with us Evo Guidoro and Nina Herlich, who are CEO and co-founder of Silicon Valley. They are based in Portugal, and this is a marketplace with local immersive experiences. They are going to present as their project. So, Sebo, welcome. You can join us here.
I think we can Shall we start the slide? Yeah, it's okay. How was it? How was it? How was the first event? It was we will not have to pay if we're at the end, but they will display your presentation. And by saying next, they will do that for you. Okay? Sorry for that. No, it's okay. So if I say next, someone hears it, like next. Yeah, because they need to hear the microphone. There we go. Perfect. Feel free to say this. Thanks, guys. No, I think it's. You can say hi to streaming. But then, are they going to see me or more like the slides? We're beautiful here, seeing you. Okay, perfect. But I think I'm going to wait for the slides. I think it's also Zoom. It's not displaying the is there the information? Se ven como dos slides partidos. Sí. Bueno, yo creo. Sí. Sí, no es solamente la. Pero bueno. It's good. So hello everybody, my name is Evo Widodo and I'm the founder of Silicon Valley. So we are turning tourists into global citizens. Next slide, please. I think we can go to the next slide. Yeah. It's okay. Good. Perfect. So the truth is that finding jobs for students is very, very difficult. In average, 90% of recruiters basically require the candidates to have some sort of previous work experience, and this results in averagely 150 to 200 job applications needs to be sent by the students in order for them to score their very first job. And then this was basically the same case for me. This was me 5 years ago making an introductory video to basically send to hundreds of companies across Canada as a business student so that I can find my first job. But unfortunately, after 2 years of trying, I had zero success. Next slide, please. So I decided to change my approach. I decide, what if I look for jobs abroad? And I think it would basically allow me to enhance my opportunity to score for jobs. And I basically, within 5 months, I applied to openings in more than 30 countries, and I finally got my first internship offer. Next slide. I think we can go next. Yeah. So here I am, like going on my first internship experience ever. It was an unpaid internship at a small startup in Brazil, in a city called Belo Horizonte. It was amazing because I finally got to put something on my CV. I got to learn unique skills. I got to learn Portuguese. I got to learn marketing, partnerships. I got to personally grow, where I could learn how to adapt to new environment, to new cultures, and most importantly, it was also a lot of fun. So from that time, I decided for the next few years of my life, this is what I want to keep doing. Basically scoring multiple opportunities to basically be able to live around the world. Next slide, please. So basically, that's what happened. The following 5 years, I basically scored jobs, scholarships, internships, and research projects that allow me to live across 30 different countries, ranging from a casual surf gig in a surf camp in Costa Rica, all the way to working for some of the world's largest companies, like Barclays and Adidas at their global headquarters. Next slide. So, but looking back, the process was not easy at all. I basically had to stumble across hundreds of job platforms, which was very difficult because most of the openings are not open for foreigners. And also there are hundreds and thousands of volunteering sites out there that offer volunteering opportunities, but mostly only limited to hostels and nonprofits. And there are also student programs that are only open to students, and they are usually very, very bureaucratic, like Erasmus or ISEC, or you can also take on immersive travel packages, which are usually very, very expensive, costing thousands of dollars for a 1 week experience, which was not affordable for most people, including myself. Next slide. So this was the turning point when I decided we actually need to create something that is a little bit more innovative here. Next slide. So I created Silicon Valley. It's a global marketplace for authentic local experiences that consists of non-touristy activities that are hosted by local experts. And these experiences are accessible to everybody, not only students, with a price point that is a lot more affordable than most competitors out there. Next slide, please. And these experiences are uniquely themed on the world's most important topics, issues, and subcultures. Next, please. Next. And these experiences have longer duration than traditional tourism experience, which only lasts for a few hours. So these experiences range from 2 weeks all the way to 6 months, which allows for three things. First of all, the participants, they get to learn something that is totally unique. They get to immerse in a new culture and the destination, and they get to contribute back. Next slide. And basically, international experience is not only a cool thing to have, it's becoming an international standard for job applicants. If you can see right here, basically the statistic from ISEC, international experience is ranked higher than university background, exam results, or other volunteering experiences that you can have when it comes to applying for jobs. Next slide, please. And also, international experience can give you life-changing inspirations. As an example, the founder of GoPro, he founded the company right after a surf trip across Australia for the summer. Or J.K. Rowling, who basically got her idea for Harry Potter after teaching in Porto. Next slide, please. And our market goes beyond students. We're also targeting travelers, sabbaticals, remote workers, and flexible workers who now have the privilege to stay longer in a destination. Next slide, please. And our impact is to boost employability through travel by working directly with local communities and using local resources around the world. Next slide, please. So here we are, Silicon Valley, and I invite you to join our mission to transform travel into a platform for global collaboration, learning, and cultural immersion. Thank you very much.
So thank you very much, Ivo and Nino, for presenting us here in FITUR Talent your project, and also for being here with us in Spain. Next, a continuación tenemos otro proyecto denominado Alteria Automation, que es Immersion India, que es del CEO Vineth Thomas y que trata temas sobre programas de aprendizaje y experiencias. Aquí tenemos un vídeo también y lo vamos a proyectar a continuación.
Hi, I'm Vinith Thomas, the co-founder and partner at Immersion India. We are thrilled and grateful to be selected among the 25 startups recognized by UNWTO, and I am also happy to be attending this session. Immersion India is India's leading experiential learning service provider to the global learning community. We enable students, corporate executives, faculty, and professionals to learn and experience India in its true sense, achieving this through promoting cultural sensitization, geographical inclusiveness, environmental impact, and various sustainable initiatives across the length and breadth of this country. Being an experiential learning service provider, this pandemic has not been kind to us. As a matter of fact, the pandemic has not been kind to anyone. It has changed the way we live, interact, and behave. Experiential learning means immersing oneself to a new environment, and a good part of that involves traveling within your country or traveling to another continent. As we know, 90% of the world is still under a travel restriction, and the future of travel is now dependent on a successful vaccine rollout. When and how travel can resume is a big question. Given the circumstances around, many people are now turning to virtual reality, be it a classroom or even experiencing a new destination through virtual tours. At Immersion India, we were challenged to innovate new ways of engaging with our audience and keep the learning going. During this period, like most organizations, we incorporated virtual reality that could simulate real-life experiences without having to risk getting out from the safety of four walls. Showcasing unique aspects of India like culture, cuisine, location, or even subject matter topics to students and faculty are all part of our adaptations to impact our learners. The feedback we receive for the virtual sessions are phenomenal, and students thoroughly enjoyed it. From a sustainability point of view, the potential for this technology to ease tourism's carbon footprint is clear. But the pandemic has been devastating for the tourism and travel industry. With this new format of learning becoming a norm, we believe the future of experiential learning programs is going to be hybrid. Online learning will be embedded in education in the future. With digital teams here to stay, we must work together to make sure this hybrid future works for everyone. Once again, we thank UNWTO and FITUR for this opportunity to present. Thank you and stay safe.
So thank you very much also Vineet Thomas, CEO from Immersion India. A continuación tenemos con nosotros a Alfonso Gordon, que es CEO de Arteria Automation. Es un proyecto que tiene que ver con la seguridad, la sostenibilidad y la calidad del aire. Así que, Alfonso, si nos quieres acompañar, atados.
Hola, buenos días a todos. Soy Alfonso Gordon, socio fundador de Arteria Automation. Antes que nada agradecer a la OMT la oportunidad de presentar nuestro producto ION Air. ION es un sistema de desinfección del aire para espacios cerrados que puede demostrar que el espacio está desinfectado por nuestra tecnología propia de sensores inteligentes. Ahora mi compañero y socio Mario Alfonso Sureda va a explicar en este vídeo cómo funciona ION Air.
As we all know by now, SARS-2 COVID-19 is a highly contagious airborne spread disease. In March 2020, Arteria Automation started the development of ION, a new product range using its know-how and proprietary technology in photonics and smart sensors. ION Air is an innovative air disinfection equipment to fight airborne virus and bacterial infection. Closed spaces are 20 times more likely to produce COVID-19 infections. Further, air conditioning systems have been identified as a key source of infection by many recent scientific studies. ION Air is a UVC disinfection equipment that kills virus, bacteria, and pathogens in the air conditioning systems, with applications in most public places such as hospitals, malls, hotels, restaurants, factories, and mass transportation. ION Air helps to restore safety and confidence in the consumer, essential to reactivate the economy. Our competitive advantages are a modular design, an electron-less ultraviolet source with a 40,000-hour lifespan, a unique off-duct design that avoids turbulence and vibration, and most important, ION Air is the only system in the market providing real-time traceability and full reporting of the disinfection process to a cloud server. ION Air is one of the few ultraviolet systems fully certified in Europe by SGS and INTA, where it has been proven that kills 99.86% of the COVID-19 virus load in just 1 second of exposure.
Pues al final lo que estábamos buscando era tener un espacio seguro, limpio, donde los clientes se sintieran como anteriormente estábamos antes de la pandemia. Eso es lo que buscábamos, proteger, cuidar y generar la mayor tranquilidad posible.
important to adopt this kind of measures, such as ion air, that guarantee and prove that the air is disinfected in our restaurants. This is very important for our customers, but also for our people, members of the team that contribute to the success of Sicilian.
The most attractive thing about this project for us is that it really has to do with our educational project. Obviously, we are talking about technological innovation and energy efficiency. Also, we are aware of the importance of air quality, especially in the development of the teaching and learning process of our students.
Muchas gracias.
Pues muchas gracias a ti, Alfonso Gordon, CEO de Altria Automation, y a todo tu equipo por haber presentado aquí en FITUR Talent vuestro proyecto. Mucho éxito. A continuación teníamos dos vídeos más que vamos a proyectar antes de que acabe la sesión de la mañana de estos proyectos de startups. Y vamos a dar paso directamente al panel que tenemos denominado Between Accessibility and Impact, the Case of Blended Learning in International Executive Education, y que va a estar moderado por Alex Gerschen, que es profesor jefe de programa de la University of Applied Sciences of the Grisons. Ellos van a conectar en virtual y Alex nos va a presentar al resto de ponentes.
Excelente, muchas gracias. Noah, thank you so much. Noah.
Okay. Disculpa un segundito porque ha empezado el vídeo que vamos a poner luego. Un momentito, Alex, creo que nos está escuchando.
Me dices, ¿ya puedo?
Un segundo, un momento, Alex. Disculpar ahora los que podáis escuchar. Estamos viendo un momentito los temas técnicos para tener todo este panel virtual. Y en breve podremos estar con todos ellos. Aquí creo, Alex. ¿Nos escucháis, Alex?
Perfecto.
In English, okay. So, Alex, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So, yeah, I think you can start this moment. You can initiate your panel, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Noah. Between accessibility and impact, the case for blended learning in international executive education is the topic of this panel. Why did we choose this topic? In this morning's sessions, there was a lot of emphasis on the opportunities of online education. And I totally agree on the opportunities. However, we also see challenges, especially with to effectiveness of online education in terms of reaching the participants, not just cognitively, but also emotionally, and creating relationship trust between the coaches and lecturers on the one hand, and on the other, also among the participants in online courses, as a prerequisite for discovery, effective coaching, lasting. So that's the reason why we chose that. Now, who are we? Who does this of? I'm very, very grateful that three high panelists are working today. That's Hassan, CEO of the hospitality company Hapmag AG. Then Michel Michelin, who's head of sustainability and public affairs Switzerland at the World Economic Forum, and Dr. René Nicole Wagner, who is personal assistant to the CEO and project manager for corporate social responsibility at Accor Northern Europe. And my name is Alex Gertschen. I'm researcher and lecturer in tourism and leisure at the University of Sciences of the Business. Now, discussion of this panel going to take place. However, I can already say that all members of the panel firmly believe in the potential of online and hybrid executive for the sustainable transformation of tourism. Why is this so? Because they're all members of the advisory board of this initiative, Tourism for Sustainable Development, which I have the privilege to head, which is a co-production of the UNWTO, World Economic Forum, and there is two partners, that's the Global Compact Network, Switzerland, Liechtenstein, the State Secretary for Economic Affairs, and the University of Applied Sciences of the Grizzlies. And what are the goals of this initiative? Our educational and training offers, they enable public and private sector executives in tourism to enhance the resilience of their destinations or enterprises through sustainability. And thus we want to foster tourism's contribution to the implementation of the UN Agenda 30 with the sustainable goals. And what does this initiative consist of? It consists of three different offers which have already been developed or will be developed. Firstly, the Recovery and Resilience Dialogue, which we carried out from November 2020 to January 2021. Then to the right side, we see a MOOC, an online education course, which will be a massive online course, and the blended learning course. This offer will be the focus of today's panel, the core offer of this initiative. So that's why we are here, and I will now invite the three panelists first ask them why they and the organization participate in the Tool for S initiative. Maybe Michel, you want to start?
Sure, thank you very much, Alex. I think for the World Economic Forum, working since our flagship event is in Davos, which is in the canton of Grisons, Graubünden, and our offices are also located in Switzerland. It is very important for us to also engage with local or universities, academia, etc., and organizations. In addition, some of the work streams that the World Economic Forum works on are transport and tourism, education, the future of education, and of course, a myriad of sustainability issues as well. So for us, this aligned very, very well, and it makes absolute sense for us to support this program.
Thank you, Michel. Hassan.
Thanks, Alex. I hope you hear me all right, because there's quite a bit of echo. I'm just going to remove my headset and I'll keep talking as I can hear myself still. And if you hear me, maybe you can just put thumbs up, as now I do not know if you still hear me. That's great. Yeah, for us, basically, there are several reasons why we do that. You know, I work at a company called Happy Mag, really a fantastic company in the field of hospitality industry that sits at the heart of this topic. And, you know, the business model itself, and the logistics of running the company, the social aspect, you know, customer experience awareness, and they all are really a part of the topic of tourism and actually sustainable development in tourism. And, you know, I think for me personally as well, as an individual, privately and in business, I truly and strongly believe that impact, in fact, sustainable impact, something that starts already at education. Unfortunately, we left this topic far too long, and I really believe we need to address it now very seriously before the damage we do through this non-sustainable developments becomes really irreversible. And I think that there's also sometimes a misconception of sustainability and thinking only of the environmental element, and it's really a much wider range. And I think we all need to kind of align and agree to a definition that, whether in education or in business and so on, we all work with, so we can combine our forces. And last point is that you study when you study hospitality, for example, you study lots of things, and a lot of them are service and finance driven. And so far there isn't much that covers the topic of sustainability and sustainable development. So it's good. It's in a way that we can contribute to this also as business executives, and that we are able to give something back from what we have learned, what we have experienced, and maybe put it into the field of education. So that is our part of the deal. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Now, Maria, you need to quickly tell us why Aqua is participating, and you personally as a member of the advisory board.
Thank you, Alex. I participated on one side representing Accor hotels, what you mentioned already, Alex, thank you. And on the other side, because it's a really good opportunity in bringing that topic more and deeper to interested people and to engage even more with this important and nice topic. And being in charge for sustainable development and covering 31 countries in Northern Europe, it's an amazing topic, and we need to bring it more deeper to the people, to the field, because currently, and that's my opinion, hotel business, tourism, and sustainable development are linked each other, each together, and none of those three would work without each other. Thank you.
Thank you, Irene. Thank you so much. Now that you know what we want to do, why we do, I'd like to come to the topic of education and blended learning education. Said before, we see the challenge at online education when it comes to ensuring the impact in terms of reaching participants, but also the emotion and creating these necessary relationships with us. And that's why we developed a blended learning concept for this distance education course, which I would like to introduce you with a video which I'm going to share now. Can you? Could my co-panelists let me know whether they can see and hear something?
Are you a decision maker working with tourism? Are you interested in making the sector, your destination, or your business more sustainable and competitive? The Distinguished Education will help you turn into reality. The Distinguished Education course is a collaborative initiative co-produced by the World Economic Forum, UN World Tourism Organization, and the Swiss partners. As a part of an exclusive group of 20 to 25 public and private sector executives from around the world, you will work and learn both online and in the Alpine Resource Network and in Geneva, home to the World Economic Forum, the UN. You will learn to apply methods to transform sustainability challenges into opportunities. You will receive coaching for your own sustainability projects, and will gain access to an exclusive peer-to-peer network at Learn more about the Distinguished Education course.
So that was a brief introduction. Now, let me go back, please.
Liebe Studieninteressierte, ganz herzlich willkommen zu unserem virtuellen Infotag. Mein Name ist Jürgen Wissler, ich bin
I hope that you can see the presentation again. And let me briefly repeat what the outcome of the EPC will be. Now, what we want to do is enable tourism actors from the public and private sector to enhance their destinations or enterprises resilience through sustainability, and thus foster tourism's contribution to the implementation of the agenda with the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. Now, what do we understand enabling? We see that as a comprehensive task, and that is where the challenge for all education comes in. By engaging participants' hearts, heads, and hands, to raise awareness, enhance analytical capability, and guide action. How exactly, where does that lead us to? What does that mean? What we will do is educate and train 20 to 25 decision makers here as champions, ambassadors of sustainable tourism. We will mentor, actively coach the participants for the development and the implementation of an individual sustainability project within this organization. Then we will be network of alumni organizations for the peer-to-peer exchange of experiences. We will foster dialogue with peers, both actors and beyond, as well as local etc. And last but not least, we will create studies for budget award-winning future massive open which is the last of the developed in the context of the REST initiative. And that's why we developed this framework, four phases. The first phase here will start in November this year with 1 month building up our basic and we make participants familiarize them on specific instruments, one of them having been developed by both which will help the participants analyze their current ability and abilities improvements. Then in the second phase, we will meet 6 days in Switzerland, where we will have a training with notes, lectures, sessions. We will create in-depth challenges of government actors and industry, and also there will be key sessions for the projects and their individual project and to exchange ideas and experiences among them. Then in the third phase, which will be the application phase, participants go home, they will implement or develop their project and receive online coaching from us. And last but not least, after another 3 months, we'll be together in Geneva, in Switzerland. That's the second, say, on-site element where we will reflect on the experiences and the outlook. So that's the concept, really, of this blended learning concept of the distinguished education course. And what I would like to know now from the panelists is how they cope with this challenge of online education and communication between accessibility and impact in their own organizations. For this, I stopped sharing my screen. I'm hearing that there is a lot of echo. I'm sorry about that. I think that has to do with the hybrid format. And yet I hope that all participants can understand something. And I would like to start again with Michel and ask you, how does the World Economic Forum combine online and on-site communication and possibly also education methods to reach its members and partners, both cognitively and emotionally? And how does the World Economic Forum foster trust networks, which is really one of the core competence of the forum?
Indeed, I think it's much better now. I don't hear an echo anymore, so whatever was done, please keep it like that. So yeah, I mean, I think for the World Economic Forum, I mean, we've been around for 50 years now, and I think one of the main ways that we did, foster communication and networks, etc., was in person at events. We became a little bit more digital over the last few years because, I mean, this is kind of where the world is going. About 10 years ago, we really started to use social media, which has now taken off. We have millions of followers on our various social media channels. So we've really kind of managed to combine the online, the digital, and the in-person experience. Now, as you all know, we unfortunately had to cancel our in-person meeting in Singapore that we were hoping to be able to hold. We did have a full digital Davos Agenda Week in January at the same time as we normally have our Davos meeting. And that actually went really, really well. And I don't think any of us were expecting it to be quite as successful, but it was. And I think that was also due to the fact that so many people were just so used to it by now after a year of online and digital Zoom calls, etc. So I think it's something that people had become accustomed to and were fine to do. Does it replace in-person meeting? No, absolutely not. Online, you can exchange knowledge, you can exchange information, and that was great. But to foster trust and to build those relationships, I think you still really need the in-person connection, because that's how you make the personal connections. Over the screen is very, very difficult. So for us, while it's working very well, we're doing a lot of work with our communities online, digitally. We are very keen to get back to doing in-person events as well. At our in-person events, what we always have too is experiences. In Davos, we have like various things that we offer our constituents when they are walking through the Congress Center. We have virtual reality experiences, we have art, we have expositions, and this is a thing I think change happens when people feel something, when they experience something. And for especially those people who don't feel like they're actually impacted by climate change, global warming, etc., it's very important that they meet with people that are directly impacted by this and can kind of share their knowledge and their experience and what they're going through. And then, of course, also very, very important for people to then also go to these places, like your excursion that you will be having in the Swiss Alps. I think also that is very valuable for people to see in person the effects of global warming and everything that is happening. In terms of tourism, this has been one of the industries that has been the most affected, still is being extremely negatively affected by this whole pandemic. And also, I think it's quite interesting because there is a silver lining in a way, because if this pandemic had struck even just 10 years ago, I don't think that our economies and our education would have managed to, as seamlessly as we could at this point, integrate this online existence. I mean, remote working, remote education, it worked quite well, I think, to those people who have access to it. I think what it also did is it pinpointed very much the gaps that there still are. And those people who don't have access. So for the World Economic Forum, these are the types of things that we're looking at now. We're looking at a post-COVID era. How are things going to be better? Do we want to go back to the old ways? Probably not, because we're seeing how this pandemic has kind of, created even bigger gaps between those who have and those who do not. So I think for us as an organization, online and in person, the hybrid is really, really important. Like I said, we share our various videos, we share lots of information. We have our strategic intelligence, which is an excellent research tool, which I also highly recommend people have a look at. It is free, it's a public good. And it works, but we still need the in-person. That is absolutely key to build trusted communities and networks, which I think probably most of you would agree. We're all pretty tired of just seeing each other on screens, and we're kind of keen to get back to shaking hands and meeting people in person.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you so much. You said one key, well, lots of sort of important things. One key statement I think was change happens when people feel something. Now, feelings, emotions are at the core of the hospitality industry. Hassan, that is your business. How do you go about online and on-site education in your company, which has to create and take care of emotions?
Yeah, that's very, very true. And you know, I would say pre-COVID, as maybe Michelle framed it, and maybe after, during, and after COVID. So pre-COVID, our main activity, let's say, of when we talk internally in the company, was really offline or analog, however you wish to call it. So, you know, whether it's exchange of information or, you know, meetings or training and so on. And of course, we did have the occasional digital way of communication because we have people spread around Europe mainly. And of course, during COVID, this had become you know, the norm actually. So we started doing mainly all of our communication digital, and I have there to totally agree with Michelle as well that, you know, before COVID, for example, we had taken a step towards going away from intranet, which was the hub of all communication with our employees, to an app solution, because we wanted really that people have everything in their pocket. And we wanted people who do not necessarily have a working station. You know, in our industry, you have people doing all sorts of things and sometimes very operational jobs, so they don't have, let's say, a workstation with a computer. And we wanted to offer instant automated translation in all languages and so on. So, for example, this app flourished during the COVID time automatically. I mean, if this had happened a few years back without an app, we would have lost communication almost totally, or had been just maybe trying to send emails and stuff. And that was basically instant. And, you know, then of course we upped the type of regular meetings, updates, keeping everybody up to date with what's going on in short sessions and so on. And all this was only possible because of the digital part. And now that things start to open up, we start to complement it again with physical parts. So what we try to do now is to make the balance. However, what we had also planned to work on, and now we started proactively, is also the training part and the education part of the people. So far, it's been sessions like we're doing now, or recorded sessions. However, it has not been totally a digital platform. So what we are doing now is we're building a digital platform for our training, which would be then on demand when people are, you know, are available and so on. So that's maybe what we would do mainly within on our side as employees in the company. But actually what was even more crucial during this time is that our offline communication with our customers got cut off. I mean, we like many touristic companies, we had to close many of our resorts for a long period of time. And there again, the digital part had saved us. We had built some, let's say, communication platforms in the last couple of years, like running regular blogs with our customers, very, let's say, short questionnaires, and polls that we get information from them. So we stuck to that, and you know, we intensified the communication until they were with us last summer again, because we have a network, again, a community, so regular travelers. Then we again complemented this with on-site physical events, and you know, different people in the company were traveling around and talking to our customers. And there's a lot in the pipeline, but basically I think few years back we thought mainly offline, and online was something that you kind of had to catch up with the rest. I think today it's equally important and it's going to continue to be that way. So I think all companies like us will have to have both solutions. The line analog has to continue and has to remain as an extremely important part of the soft part of the service that we deliver, for the soft skills that we have as people to give, a hospitable service, because that's what we do, hospitality. But at the same time, we need to reach people quickly. We need to reach them when they want us to reach them, not only when we want to reach them. And it's gonna have to be quick. It's gonna have to be clear. And maybe just the last comment to this, where one thing that showed to be very effective during the pandemic, we noticed how quickly the need or the type of content the customers were looking for. In our business, people looked before for inspiration. They booked and then they looked for information. And with COVID, it became exactly the other way around. People looked for information because everything was so uncertain. Then they went for inspiration. And that can only be possible quick if you're using digital means and not printed brochures, for example. So that is where we stand on this.
Thank you, Hassan, so much. Now, Rene, you're in the same hospitality, in the same industry. How did Accor fare with that, deal with that challenge?
Thank you, Alex. Before I'll answer the question, I'm sharing absolutely what Michelle and Hassan said before. Emotion cannot be shared on a digital way. It's completely on a sensitive base. You need to see and to feel and to touch your counterpart on a real way and not on a digital way. We always had our academy where we had trainings already digital a couple of years ago, but most of our trainings took place on a real live screen. And during the pandemic, we had to switch 100% to digital ways as well and trainings. But we made it as well to have digital kitchen training. So, which is quite funny, having different people, different employees in their own kitchen and sharing kitchen training. So everything is makeable. But once again, as Michelle as well mentioned, 10 years before, we have been in a huge bubble without any knowing how to help each other. And as Hassan mentioned as well, both solutions will continue or may continue to exist. So we do focus on creating and renewing our internal platform for the trainings. We are still working with our own academy where we have internal and external partners and trainers to really catch up the main topics. We need to focus, or we want to focus to our talents, because our talents are our heart of the work and of the business. So without our talents, we won't be able to exist.
Thank you, Rene. So much for sharing your thoughts. Now, I think I know I was already looking at the watch, thinking that we should come to an end, which I would like to do now, and just please let me conclude with 3 remarks. I think, of course, generally speaking, what we can take out of this panel is that whether you make a case for blended learning or blended communication or not really depends on the goal of your what you want to achieve. In our case, it depends on the goal of the educational offer and on the competencies you want the participants to acquire. And then probably the future is hybrid. There will be only online educational offers, definitely. It remains to be seen whether that becomes the standard or not. I believe, especially in the hospitality industry, from what we've heard now, probably hybrid is the future. And last but not least, it's precisely with such a blended learning course that the Tour4SD, the Tourism for Sustainable Development Initiative, aims to meet the challenges of future education so that tourism can meet the challenges, the future challenges of sustainable development. So thank you very much, Ainoa, for giving us that space. And thank you so much, René, Michel, and Hassan for having been with us.
Thank you very much, Alex, and all the panelists for this amazing and interesting panel. It has been a pleasure.
May I hand back to you, I hope.
It has been a pleasure for all of us to have you here even virtually in FITUR Talent. So we hope to count on you in future editions. And we also appreciate your information that you have shared with us about the Distinguished Education course in collaboration with the UNWTO. So thank you again, and good luck. A continuación vamos a reproducir los vídeos que han quedado de la parte de startups que
I think
teníamos
it's because maybe it's on mute, their microphone. I can't hear anything. I don't know if you do, Alex.
I can't hear anything either.
Creo que estamos acabando de cerrar la conexión. Sí, bien.
I'm the founder of IDAL, an online platform for collaborative global learning. We empower K-12 educators with tools to conduct cultural exchanges, collaborate with other classrooms globally, and complement classes with virtual field trips and live sessions with guest speakers. The main idea behind IDAL is to help students thrive in our interconnected world as they develop creativity, compassion, intercultural communication skills, and global citizenship. Our mission is to make education impactful and accessible on a global scale through peer-to-peer and classroom connection, communication, and collaboration. Our interactive learning experiences directly contribute to students' long-term success, preparing them for better job opportunities in the future. There are 3 ways in which we help students prepare for the real-world career of tomorrow. We encourage collaboration and teamwork. Jobs of the future will be collaborative. This is why it's so important to promote teamwork, interaction, and collaboration in every classroom. We make it simple for virtual connections to exist in classrooms by combining everything needed in one platform: live video file sharing, a partner classroom, and collaborative activities. Cultural exchanges provide an opportunity to explore other cultures, traditions, customs, beliefs, societies, languages, while building student self-awareness, social awareness, and relationship skills. All of these skills are important for students' academic, social, and eventually professional lives. We spark curiosity and take students on a journey of discovery beyond the classroom. With iDialog, students are invited to travel around the globe with no passport, no plane tickets, and no luggage. They learn about the history of Buddhism while walking through the temples of Bangkok, understand immigration on a tour through Berlin led by a Syrian refugee, explore Japanese culture strolling through the mysterious streets of Kyoto. Live communication and the virtual field trips engaging nature sparks curiosity in students and encourages them to dig deeper. This has a positive impact on the overall academic performance. We foster professional development and life skills training. Working together with guest experts and organizational partners, we facilitate on-demand career power hours, led by the world's leading experts, ranging from NASA astronauts and engineers to best-selling authors and thought leaders. By collaborating with guest speakers, experts, and professionals to help further learning in the classroom, teachers are able to provide deeper learning while also showing students the relevance of their education. When students see professionals using the skills that they've learned in school and having successful careers with them, it's a powerful motivator and influence. By breaking down academic and cultural barriers, we make students realize their true potential, opening them up to better job opportunities in the future. I believe that in today's increasingly interconnected and diverse world, students' success in life will be defined by their ability to interact, cooperate, and learn with others who are different. This inspired me to create a global learning ecosystem that inspires students to become world citizens, to fulfill their potential in our globalized community, to celebrate and be enriched by diversity. It's time to learn with the world and not just about it. Thank you.
Acabamos de ver el vídeo presentado por Natalia But, CEO de eDialog, que ya proviene de Rusia y nos hablaba sobre un ecosistema de aprendizaje remoto centrado en la comunidad. Y a continuación, para finalizar, vamos a proyectar el vídeo de Paul de Javillan, CEO de Habuta, concretamente de Suiza, y es un colector de datos de ONGs en educación. Por tanto, con este vídeo vamos a cerrar ya toda la parte de innovación y startups. Disculpar porque estamos teniendo un problema con el sonido, lo estamos solucionando y en breve proyectamos el vídeo. Gracias.
Have an app, a mobile app, which NGOs have their beneficiaries download to their phones, and they can send them questionnaires and surveys. So what we found was that in the sector, data was, first of all, expensive, and just as a kind of an example, the prevailing rates for the traditional ways of getting data cost about $15 per participant. For us, the sort of fixed cost is, or the variable cost is as little as 15 cents. So we can do it for NGOs a lot more affordably. And that cost kind of ruled out the ability for certainly smaller NGOs to gather data themselves. So part of our focus is on helping smaller NGOs gather M&E data so that they can report to donors and access more formal channels of funding. So that data is recorded. We use blockchain to record a hash of the data. so that it's then verified, and that allows an NGO again to say that the impact they're having is verified. That allows development organizations to say that their impact is provable, is verified. So we're using the immutability qualities of blockchain technology to help development actors prove and improve their impact. We've also found that collecting data is not as nimble as it needs to be in traditional methods. So using Havuta, you're more able to get timely data, like on a day-to-day basis if you need to really nimbly respond to changes in circumstances, and also to measure your progress during the implementation of a program. So that's helpful to NGOs that you know, where things may be changing or they want to improve what they're doing while they're actually doing it. They can gather real-time data from the beneficiaries they're working for. And longitudinal data is the other downfall of traditional methods of collection. So the app helps NGOs remain connected to their beneficiaries or past beneficiaries over a longer period of time, so they can then measure and prove their longer term impact, which I think is important going forward when we want the sector to be having not just a short-term impact, but a long-term impact. We've also found during COVID, of course, that the need to collect data at a distance has emerged. Havuta's tech solution is ideal for that. And that moving forward, we would expect that tourism is going to be very important for a number of developing countries to reboot their economies. And to deliver training and then measure the impact of that training in hospitality, we've found doing that at a distance is either going to be necessary, or at least some distance elements are going to continue to be a part of the way development services are delivered. So there's a lot of developing countries that we can all think of who have suffered tremendously from the COVID disaster, and for whom tourism is an essential component of their economies. To reboot that sector and to deliver hospitality training and measure that training and make sure it's of good quality is going to be incredibly important for many developing countries. So that's it from Havuta, where, you know, in our DNA is that we want to get funding flowing to effective development organizations. And in order to do that, their ability to collect data has to be enhanced, and their ability to collect data at an affordable price has to be enhanced. And in a post-COVID world, I think the recovery of a number of developing countries is going to heavily rely on tourism and hospitality. So we do have experience in delivering training and measuring that training, working with partners in hospitality. So thank you for listening to this presentation.
Bien, pues finalizamos la mañana de hoy agradeciendo enormemente a la Organización Mundial del Turismo toda la parte que han elaborado de este programa para traernos toda su estrategia del 2021 y toda la parte de innovación vinculada a la educación. Y iniciamos esta tarde. Recordaros que en vez de las 3:30 vamos a empezar a las 4 y tenemos el programa enfocado desde el punto de vista del World Travel and Tourism Council con el liderazgo de la mujer y el emprendimiento en el sector turístico. Muchas gracias.